That's all
I
right.
don't know who that is. Is that new?
What are we looking at there, fellas?
Picture of his dick. Oh.
Is it new?
Just got it.
Yeah, it's black. So I was like, wait, Steve Rannazzisi?
Rannazzisi.
Wait, is his mic on? Oh,
It should be.
Oh,
What the
okay.
hell happened there?
Rannazzisi?
Rannazzisi.
I don't know him.
He's from the league. I love that show.
Wait, he made the New York Times.
Oh yeah, here's the story.
So what's the story? He told people he escaped on 9/11,
Yeah, he escaped from the World Trade Center.
and now he had to admit he lied.
Ew.
You know what's crazy?
Why the fuck would he say this?
I'm a big fan of his, and I actually I tweeted him. I'd say 2 or 3 years ago, and I tweeted him saying, "Hey, heard you got into comedy because of 9/11. I think that's really cool." And then he tweeted me back something like that, and I was always like, "What? What a weird response."
That is a weird something like that.
Something like that.
It's kind of a shitty response.
I was like, that was weird. But he's an extremely funny dude. That's why
So-
this article kind of sucks.
Who called him out on this?
He admitted it.
Because
Which
why
was
after all
cool.
of his, after all
Oh,
this
he didn't
time?
get caught?
No, someone brought it up. Somebody brought it up again. Was like, I heard you escaped the towers, and you mentioned it in an interview in like '09, and he was like, yeah, I don't know why I said that. He's
Oh yeah,
like-
because he
Was that the first time he said it in 09?
yeah, he said it in '09, right when I feel like that's when his career kind of started popping, and then it went away, and he said he always felt bad for saying it.
He described being on the 54th floor of the South Tower as an employee of Merrill Lynch when the planes hit the North Tower. He gave an account during an appearance on Mark Maron's podcast 2009. Merrill Lynch did not have offices in the World Trade Center. In 2001, there's no record of his employment.
You know what? Let me just call my dad and see if he's there.
Oh, Pete, wait a minute. That
Don't.
happens sometimes.
Don't do it.
So wait a minute. He just made up Merrill Lynch. Why didn't Maron fact check them? Wow. What a fucking dick.
That's weird.
Who makes... I've lied in interview like little things.
Yeah, you lie about little shit.
You know what I mean? Like, how's the show going to be? I'll say good.
It's gonna be hilarious.
Yeah, oh, and a lot of new stuff. And then they show up and it's the same old business.
Yeah, that's one of those that's a hole you can't really dig yourself out of.
Oh, I lied about being in a tower? Fuck you.
He was in Midtown at the time, actually, working in Midtown that day. So.
Was he a Merrill Lynch employee or no?
And not for Merrill Lynch, which has no record of his employment and had no offices in either tower.
Can we hear
as
that from the
Justin
Maron
said.
podcast?
I'm the only 9/11 kid here. Nobody else in comedy could be the 9/11 boy. Back the fuck off, Steve! I'm the 9/11 kid. I'm the 9/11 kid.
I like to hear the 9/11 boy.
Looks like we just got a SNL preview. Wow, Pete, Jesus. Yeah, we'll.
I want to hear that. Wow. And what made
We'll
him
find the
admit
clip
it?
from Mark Maron's podcast,
And he told the story for the first time in the 54 in the
2009,
wow.
I think. That's
8
what
years
Pete
later?
said, right?
Yeah, '09.
09. Yeah, we'll get to the bottom of that. What's the deal here? You got a comedian who said he was in the towers and escaped that day. Turns out he was not, and he finally admitted he made it.
Let
all
me
up.
clarify, Ope. I said that I was looking at them the day before.
I worked in Merrill Lynch for a year and a half.
As an accountant or a broker?
No, I was an account manager, which basically meant I was the liaison between the brokers and the clients. I would take people out to lunch, take
Can you
people out
pause
to
this?
dinner.
If he's making this up, he has a tremendous mental illness. To get that deep into it, I was a liaison. If you use the word liaison in a lie, you're a fucking
I
psychopath.
don't even know what liaison means.
It's kind of creepy.
Yes, it's like loseroonie.
I was a real loseroonie at Merrill Lynch.
Yes.
Remember?
Merrill Lynch. Baseball.
I can't speak.
Oh, you motherfucker! Use your L's properly! You motherfucker! Say insurance company name right! What do you say? Mutual of Omaha?
It's baseballs, motherfucker.
Pluralize, you motherfucker!
Motherfucker.
Party starter. Sort of the party starter of Merrill Lynch, yeah. Until our building got hit with a plane, and
Christ.
yeah.
When did that happen?
the party ended right there.
That's
That's where the party. I worked on the 54th floor of the second tower.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Did you evacuate?
No, I mean, get the
that
fuck
day?
out of here.
Yeah, no one's buying this.
Yeah, you're lying. Get out of here.
You're lying.
There was no 54th floor. It went from 40 to 70.
It was an oversight.
This is creepy.
I was there, and then the first tower got hit, and we were like, jostled all over the place. And then
Hold on.
That's how you know he wasn't in there.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we just shook around a little
What
bit.
happened on 9/11? Do you know those little snow globes? All of a sudden, I saw it going, and the snow was all over the goddamn place.
Well, I pissed on the seat.
My coffee mug fell.
Oh, the building was being jostled to and fro. I got out of there.
came on the loudspeaker, and they were like, "Hey, explosion in Tower 1. Things are being taken care of. Everyone remain where you are. Stay calm. We're figuring things out." And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna go check this thing out." So I went downstairs.
What an
walked
ass.
outside. Saw all the pandemonium, and then about 5 or 6 minutes later, and then it just bang.
While you were standing right there.
Well, it's like underneath the giant overpass that was overhang that was right by.
Overpass, overhang, just making up as he goes along.
my God,
What a
this is
fucking
creepy.
douche.
Oh, your coworkers were upstairs?
Yeah, but I don't know. I couldn't tell exactly where it went in, so I had no idea.
Right.
So I called up to the office, and they were like, it was pandemonium. Like, we're on our way down. And then I just started.
Yeah, they answered the phone after a fucking plane went through the building.
Yeah, I called
You
upstairs.
fucking idiot.
Hey, what's going on? No, we're just looking down at the plane. We'll be down shortly. I just got to wrap up this accounts meeting.
Yeah.
Hello, Merrill Lynch. May I help you?
Can you send up a parachute? Because there's no fucking elevator that can go down.
Yeah,
anymore.
hey, what are you guys doing? Your motherfucking plane hit the building! Don't turn the water off!
Oh, I hate plane.
I hate plane.
Yeah.
Fucking it.
Oh, my God.
And I got to about West Broadway when I stopped and caught my breath. And then they watched the second tower fall. Our tower fell first.
This guy even
Yeah.
live in New
Yeah, yeah.
York?
He just makes this whole thing up. What happened? I made a left on Vesey and I ran into Jersey.
Yes.
Yeah, the second one that got hit was the first one to fall. And then, because it was the impact was lower, so there was more weight on top, I think, is
Will you
the way it
shut
was
up?
described to me.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that listen to my podcast who would say
That
well,
the
you
government
want-
did it.
Yeah,
That
you want
That
to know
you
the
weren't
real
in
truth.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah, the government did it.
But you were there and you saw all that, and like
we had no idea. I literally,
He sounds
as far as
believable.
that's
That's what's
concerned,
creepy.
No,
I
the
had-
way now that you know he's lying, listening to him just fish around, I couldn't tell. There's windows broken. There was mugs knocked to and fro.
I'm thinking if he told this story on our show, if we would have went with it.
No one
I
said.
don't hear anything
Well,
in here where I would
because-
go, wait a minute.
You can't fucking trump someone's 9/11
I know.
story.
Right.
You
Well,
know?
I have one Titanic, but go ahead.
But you,
I was
you
in the
can't- if
Hindenburg.
so-
You sound like an asshole if you
It was a
question this
cold
shit.
night.
yeah, you're an asshole if you're like.
That's what plays
are you
into this
lying?
too. Yeah, you look like a fucking asshole if you question
What's
it.
really sad is I still hate Justin more than this guy.
What did I
Wow.
That's because Justin looks like the woman who wasn't there.
Go back to this.
no idea what was going on till 3 hours into it. I just thought it was two drunk idiots. I couldn't tell the
Hold on a
size of
second.
All right, well, now I'd be
Now
like,
he's fought. You
Yeah,
thought two
yeah.
alcoholic pilots hit the towers, and you didn't know till 3 hours later.
yeah, no, that's
Yeah. 3 hours later, just being like, I think they were all drunk.
Yeah, there was a drunk driving accident.
What a bunch of hooligans.
Yeah, my building
Guess I
fell.
don't have to go to work for a little bit.
Yeah, the drunk drivers knocked the building over. I couldn't believe it. You know, a lot of things I guessed on that day. Drunk driving was not one of
no,
them.
that wouldn't be your first thought.
No, exactly.
planes or anything like that. I just was
You
like,
thought really it was two drunk idiots? Like they were up there
the
going,
second
oh,
time,
what's
yeah,
this?
the second time I was like, well, something's going on here, but it did not dawn on me that.
Then why didn't you know for 3 hours when the one hit 20 minutes later?
Fucking shock. I mean, for fuck's sake. I mean,
Walking across the Brooklyn Bridge, like it was literally
Walking
100,000
across the
people.
Brooklyn Bridge.
Elijah's here.
Fuck out of here.
Oh, this is really good though.
So we'll bring him in.
Fuck.
Should I have him wait a minute?
No, bring him in. We'll talk to him about this, with this, the whole fucking thing. It's a different motive. We were just listening to the audio of a guy who was a comedian who
Pretty successful comic.
I didn't know who he was, but he lied about being in one of the towers on 9/11, and he just
I just saw
confessed
that
it.
online. Yeah.
Yeah, New York Times.
Really
And why
bizarre.
would you do that?
On Mark Maron's podcast, it just kind of came out. I
Wait,
guess.
so it came out in conversation. It wasn't like a bit he was doing.
Oh no,
he was being interviewed by Mark.
It was a genuine statement. He was being very serious.
And he's got details. It's kind of creepy. We were listening to it right before you got in.
He said
Why
like,
would
You want to hear a little bit of it?
I do actually.
Okay.
I'm just. I want to understand why he would do something like
The
that.
guy was from FX, and your show was on FX, right?
Yeah.
So did you know him from there? Do you know
What's
this
his
guy?
name?
It's
Steve Rannazzisi.
I don't know him.
He's on the league.
the name is very
Okay.
familiar. I
He's
know
on the
him.
league.
On
He
the
was in the
league.
first Paul Blart.
This is gonna fuck up his career.
It's gonna totally fuck up.
This is gonna like follow him.
Yeah,
man.
there's something in there. This is not a public shaming thing. There's something about when you publicly lie about being attached to 9/11 and you weren't. It's like, ugh, what are you doing?
Yeah. I want to hear this. I'm curious what the
This is
context
This is in the middle of his explanation. But I mean, he's just told Mark, I was a liaison. I worked on the 54th floor. And now that you know he's lying, it kind of sounds like, yeah, the building jostled. He's just using terms that you probably wouldn't
And then
use.
he was down on.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, he was calling back up to the office because he was kind of out of the building.
What? So it's the intention behind this to have some sort of like
Sympathy.
story?
Yeah,
sympathy
but he
for
already
having-
fucking like popped at this point. That's why I don't know why.
I don't know. Yeah, why would you
Like,
do
I can
it?
understand if like you had nothing, you were like an old comic, and you're like, I was in the bill, but like he was fine.
Yeah, like if Rickles came out and said, I was there. You're like, all right, we get it. You're right.
And Elijah, full disclosure, Pete lost his dad for real in 9/11.
Did
so,
you?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what Pete
Oh
says.
man, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it's just a weird. He brought this to our attention actually.
It's just like a weird, because he's funny. That's why it's like it sucks.
Yeah. Let's push play here.
People. Oh, this is the best. Before that, a cab pulls up, and I'm like, all right, I'm out. Let's go. And he's like, $500 to Brooklyn. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I can only make one trip out. They're shutting the island down. And
pulling
these
a
two
cab
brokers
into his
got in and
lies?
jumped in the car and took
You
off.
paid it?
I didn't pay it. I was like, what? $500?
I'm an accounts manager. I'm a party starter.
Yeah, I'm the party starter. You guys pay. I'll sit in the front seat and tell some jokes.
Oh my god, man.
But yeah, I was like, even in times of strife, it's still
How
just
much did it fuck you up? I mean, mentally, because my ex-wife
here we
was
go.
down there. She worked close by.
Yeah.
And she was traumatized. I mean, outside of being
I had
married to
problems.
me.
I still had dreams of like those falling dreams. My wife, who was my
Man,
girlfriend at the
That's
time,
really sad.
worked on the 24th floor, and I didn't know where she was for like 6 hours.
No way.
And
So
what
she's
happened
probably in
was-
Jersey where you are, stupid.
Watching it on TV.
Exactly.
Like
None
the rest of us.
none of this is true. Is that what it is?
None of it.
None.
He just came, but it was a weird thing. It's almost like we all daydream. Like I talk to myself a lot in the house, and I just make up scenarios for myself. I'm a weird person. Maybe he does the same thing, and all of a sudden in the conversation he was tired, and it just started happening.
Yeah. And he can't pull back because he's already. But those are really broad stroke lies, man, and
you-
very specific.
Once you say I was in one of the towers when it got hit, and someone goes, "What?" You can't go, "Oh no, that wasn't me." You're in. You're in it.
You're all
Even
in.
about the
April 1st.
But even like the thing about the cab, like that's so specific and detailed. I don't.
But if you asked him a follow-up,
really disturbing.
liars, like if you said to him, "What happened with the cab?" He'd probably be like, "Oh, dude, I just." But then, and he would just move. Like they fall apart when you ask for specifics in their lies.
But he asked him specifically about how traumatic it was, and he actually was able to get into that. That's really disturbing.
Let's play it a little more.
Yeah, he
just a
said his
little.
wife was on the 30th floor. He was on the
20
54th. And it looks like Merrill Lynch did not have a 54th floor office in the Trade Center. You think he just made up a floor?
Wow.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'd walked home and then got to my apartment, caught my breath, watched the news, and then about an hour goes by, 2 hours go by, no her, and I'm like, oh, I now have to call her parents and tell her she's dead, and she comes walking to the door. What happened was she was on the subway in, and she was underneath the water. So because the Trade Center was the first stop in Manhattan, they had to back out all the subways.
So she hadn't even gotten to work yet.
She was stuck in the subway
Thank
underneath.
God.
They didn't even know what was going on.
Oh, well, what does that
God.
say? That bitch, she's late all the time.
So it's not even true about his wife.
None of this.
But that part might be
maybe.
true.
That part
Maybe.
might be true.
You
but
never
now
know.
it just
Yeah,
makes
that's
her
true.
look like
Maybe.
a twat too.
At parties, you just hate that that she had the better story. She's probably like, "Yeah, I was on the train," and then one day he was probably like, "Yeah, I wish I was involved."
It's like fuck that. I'll trump that story.
I'd love to know what the mentality is behind this because he might be a good guy. Like, what is it that would make you do this? I've lied about other stuff. Like, yeah, I'll pull out.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll tell you. Got you.
Why you
also-
think you could get away with that? I don't know.
He also just became a big spokesman for Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh boy, that's going away.
That's going to go away.
Well, you don't know.
Yeah. I mean, Buffalo Wild Wings isn't the most politically correct place if you've ever been in a Buffalo Wild Wings.
This Steve Rannazzisi's Twitter.
I have his tweets.
Yep.
Yeah, we got him
he's
too.
explaining.
What's he saying? There?
As a young man, I made a mistake that I deeply regret. And
I apologize. I was there on the 10th.
For which apologies may still not be enough. After I moved with my wife to Los Angeles from New York City, bragger, in 2001, shortly after 9/11, I told people that I was in one of the World Trade Center towers on 9/11.
Oh, so he was doing it
Also,
back then.
This narrative has existed for him for a while. Then.
Yeah, this is a 15-year fucking thing that he knew was going to explode
He's
eventually.
in for the long ruse.
It wasn't how do you think he had this saved in his drafts for like 6 years? It's like, well, today's the day, honey. Yeah, I was in Manhattan, but working in a building in Midtown and was not at the Trade Center on that day. I don't know why I said this. This was inexcusable. I'm truly, truly sorry. For many years, more than anything, I have wished that with silence, I could somehow erase a story told by an immature young man. You're fucking 30, dude. It only made me more ashamed. How could I tell my children to be honest when I hadn't come clean about this? It is to the victims of 9/11 and to the people that love them and the people that love me that I ask for forgiveness. I mean,
There's two more.
those are the two new ones?
Yep.
Psych.
Psych, suck my dick. Watch the league season 7. And his special comes out on fucking Friday.
Good timing.
Really great timing. Watch my special.
It's an interesting thing. This, we live in a very public world now.
Yeah, like I wonder how many people lied about shit back then and just didn't have a twit. Like you
Right.
can't really figure it out. You know.
The one negative to this is like, look, okay, it's great. It's come out. People, he's apologizing publicly. There's a forum for which he can apologize for it.
But he's not sorry. He's
But there
sorry he
is
got
this
caught.
thing that's a little dangerous about the internet, where there's this sort of like mob mentality.
Oh, you think?
That's a little unfair. Even if someone's done something heinous,
Yeah.
it can get to the point where it becomes harmful to their life based on just one stupid mistake because people just start to shame them. Oh, it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, but
Did he
this
get
is one of
caught?
those where it's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a way.
But I would say
Totally.
70% of stories that come out are like, all right,
Yeah.
whatever.